Look at all these swifts up here. Loads of them screaming around, and I'm going to tell you the story about last year, that's just gone into the nest, about how the scaffolding was blocking access to this active swift colony's nest site. I come here a lot to watch the swifts. They're absolutely fascinating. I'm going to tell you that story now, right? So I found that the nest had got blocked by scaffolding. Swifts need a clear flight path to get into their nests, and it was being blocked by scaffold. And older buildings tend to be great for swift nests because they have all the holes and the nooks and crannies in them for the swift to get in. But the scaffolding had blocked it, and they can't scramble around the scaffold to get into their nest. They need a clear flight path. So called the company. Look at them screaming past. Called the company. Their name was on the thing. They ignored me. Got through to them. It was their reply was, "It's just a bird, mate. We're not doing anything about it." And then another reply we got was, we called the RSPCA and they said it's okay, and that of course was a lie. Anyway, couldn't get it sorted. The scaffold company weren't being very helpful, and it's a shame because we need scaffolders to be aware of this thing. Swifts are in serious decline, and they love nesting in old buildings, and this is one of the most important swift colonies in Ramsgate here. In the end, the police were utterly useless. The police really let us down. Who came to the rescue? It was the RSPB. They were absolutely brilliant, and it took days to get sorted, so unfortunately it's very likely that the young chicks would have starved to death in that time. But the parents are long-lived birds, and hopefully they can recover and carry on breeding in years to come. And we wanted to kind of put a positive spin on it. We wanted, to highlight this issue that scaffolders aren't aware of this thing, and what mechanisms should be in place to deal with this going forward, this kind of situation, because it happens up and down the country every year. Anyway, fortunately, ScaffMag, yes, that exists. And a lady I know called Kerry, she's brilliant, notified ScaffMag about this, and they run the story, so hopefully some scaffolders will learn. Anyway, they did say they would let us put some swift boxes up and they would pay for them, but they didn't want to do that. Anyway, a whole year passed and the swift were coming back and the scaffold was back up, and we're like, no, the scaffold's back up and the swift are going to be arriving back from Africa in the UK and not be able to get into their nest again. They've got a nest just in there, nests in there, they've got a nest right down here as well, and there's loads of nests just all here, and they were in a hole just over there. So that swift just come out. It just come out of that one that was also blocked by the scaffold. So they were legitimately blocked by scaffold. And anyway, in the end, this year round, they contacted the scaffolders, and the scaffolders got the scaffold down in time. No drama, because put the scaffold up for the rest of the year, no problem, but you don't want it up when the birds are back here for the summer, because the swift can't just find another site. They are loyal to a nest site. It doesn't happen in nature that suddenly that building is not available. So swift will exhaust themselves trying to get into that nest hole that is now blocked, and they won't be able to do it, and it can sometimes lead to fatalities where the birds are trying to get into their nest. So it's really important. Anyway, RSPB coughed up the money to buy those 3 boxes just up there on the building. The closest match we could get in a short space of time, matched to the building, and we've got 3 in a tower block. And the RSPB paid for them, so good on them, and thank you so much. And I installed them, and the builders were happy to let me go up and get on the scaffold. I'm insured, I've got public liability, professional indemnity, I'm all insured to do this kind of work, and they let me go up on the scaffold and put them up. So it was a rough road, but with thanks to the RSPB, we eventually got the scaffold altered, and then this year we managed to get 3 additional boxes up. So overall, it has improved the colony, this situation. We've got those 3 boxes up there. So yeah, that was the outcome of that absolute disaster when this colony of swifts were blocked access to their nests. If you see that, it's a 999 call. It's against the law, the Wildlife and Countryside Act, to block or disturb an active swift nest, and any nest of that matter. Swifts are under serious decline, so they need the help. And there's just swifts, you won't see them on camera, but they're all just in the sky this evening. Absolutely beautiful. So in the end, thanks to the RSPB, it was a positive outcome. Hear them all screaming above me. This is an important place for swifts, and you can use an app called Swift Mapper, where you can log swift nest boxes and swift nest sites so that people know going forward. And quite often they're nesting on listed building sites. Their nest sites are on listed buildings which require planning permission to have anything done. So planning authorities should be checking Swift Mapper to see if there's, before they authorise works to happen within a certain time frame. But I've also managed to get Swift boxes up on these buildings. I've got a Swift box over there on that building, and I managed to get a Swift box up on there as well this year. Hear them screaming over. So that was the story of the Albert Road Swift colony that got blocked last year. A positive outcome in the end, and it is so important to spread awareness for these situations. Get wild.